Welcome to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social, where we help you stay ahead of social media trends, share the latest news, and highlight the strategies that are working to help you grow your business. Now let's join our hosts, Tristan and Jeff, in 3, 2, 1.
Are you struggling to set yourself apart in the real estate sea of sameness? Do you struggle to decide where to market, how to market, or what to put into your marketing to help you stand out? It's probably because your brand isn't dialed in. A great brand involves a lot more than a photo, a logo, and a tagline, friends. That's because people don't do business with a logo, they do business with a person. Our friends at BrandFace can help you define, develop, and display your personal brand so you can stand out, outmarket, and outsell your competition. It is time to unveil your inner star. Head to powerbrandtraining.com and check out their free training video. Again, powerbrandtraining.com. That's all one word. powerbrandtraining.com. Check out their free training video. It will be worth your time.
All right, let's get going with this one. Let's see who's jumping on. I'm going to go ahead and invite a whole bunch of people and then bring on all my friends on this. Let's see if Jeff can find this place, because Jeff's going to be looking, and we're going to get started here as soon as we got Mr. Jeff Pfitzer and who is our director of ops here. Let's see here. I am good to go. Let me just text in. I'm in. Started. Waiting for you. Just texting Jeff here. And we will get this going in a few seconds. Let me just make sure that it's open to everyone. We're good on this end. And let me just make sure it is live on the Facebook desktop page. And then we'll get going to talk about TikTok. Let's see here. Drunk on Social. Inside of the Facebook group. Good. Excellent. I see us. We're all looking good. And looks like I'm all by myself. So making sure that Jeff can see this. All right. I'm on. And let me send him the link through here. And let's see who else is on. If you're on, go ahead and type in the chat so I know you're alive while I'm inviting. It won't let Jeff in again. That's awesome. That is so funny. Jeff can't seem to get into this thing ever. So let me see if I can invite him. Jeff Pfitzer. What's up, Aaron? How are you, buddy? I'm waiting for Mr. Jeff Pfitzer to jump in on this thing. Hopefully he can jump in and we can get started. He seems to always have challenges on this one. Let's see here. All right, jump in and we'll get going. All right. We'll see when he jumps in, but I've got some good things for you. Here, what we've noticed on TikTok over the last few weeks. If you haven't been paying attention, some of you don't even know that TikTok has stories now. Yeah, like Instagram stories, which are great. TikTok finally is deciding to throw on stories and copy Instagram instead of the other way around, which Instagram's just trying to rip off everything that TikTok has been doing. The ability for them to do more stories will just keep more eyes on them. If you see, the thing that people engage with the most when it comes to Instagram is stories, hands down, over 1 billion a day. That's insane because they're quick. You can go through them really fast. Now, the idea behind it is for TikTok to maintain people on their site, right? Not only on through the TikTok feed, which is 15 seconds plus, but now through these little short stories. And you know who I was talking to about this before it came out was London Lazarson. If you don't know London, he's got 8.5 million followers. He's a good friend of ours. And he's like, dude, you know what? I keep on telling TikTok that they need stories because I want to just share something really quick and I want to keep people engaged. And so look out for that. If it's not on, you're going to start seeing that pop up on yours. They're going to release it soon to everyone. Right now, it's only on a few people. So there we go. Let's see who's on. Oh, I can hear. There's a feed on this one. I can hear it. Oh, I can hear. There's a feed on this one. Somebody, yeah, and there we go. I don't know who's on, but let me see if I can mute you and it works. There we go. And let's see here, mute. There it is. Now I can't hear myself. Perfect. So the other part to this is people are asking, well, what are we noticing when it comes to things that are catching on for engagement or growth when it comes to TikTok? And hands down, it's your consistency with trends, your consistency with what my friend Sean Cannell, who you know from YouTube, he's got 2 million followers on YouTube. He says it comes down to two things. It's influence surfing and trend surfing. And with influence surfing is you're looking to see who is out there in the TikTok world or who has some type of authority that you can just copy in the sense of using the same things that they're talking about, maybe using their pictures. And you see this often. I mean, Jeff does this really well. Jeff may use something Gary Vee said and then post his picture or his short video of Gary Vee and then go in and explain to him what he thinks. And we can do the same thing in any field, whether it's real estate related or whether it's any type of business. And in real estate, I'll give you an example. The easiest thing that comes to mind is when you're doing influence surfing, you could say, look, Dave Ramsey says you shouldn't get a loan for almost anything versus Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki says, leverage, use a loan at any instance that you can. And so the way you would start that is maybe have a picture of Dave Ramsey versus Robert Kiyosaki or short video. And then you chime in and say, hey, well, I kind of feel it's kind of one way or the other or a combination of both. That's how you do influence surfing. And that's been doing really, really well on TikTok. The other one is trend surfing. And trend surfing is just, I'll give you the best example because we saw this happen yesterday, right? With Will Smith, when Will Smith went up and slapped Chris Rock. That's a trend, right? Whether you use it as a meme, you talk about it, everyone's talking about it. But whatever it is that you're going to do with it, you use that trend, you talk about it, and obviously it has to fit your comfort level, whether it's a dance because it's a song that you like or a specific dance, or if you don't dance, it's a topic that's a trend, right? That's the idea of trend surfing, but you have to go through on TikTok and see, well, what are the trends? Is it a song? Is it a dance? Is it a topic, something on the news? Is it something that happened in the celebrity world that everyone's talking about? Is it something having to do with real estate, with interest rates, or with the war? That's the idea behind trend surfing. Now, when you do influence surfing and you combine that with trend surfing, that's when you start seeing great things happen. So that's the number one question that we get. And that's been the way that we've continually been able to grow. And the next, I have a few other things that people requested here. When do you plan on, let's see. Here's a good one. And this one's from Carl. If Carl's on, Carl, pay attention to this one. A lot of people ask this specific question and saying, hey, how can I get this done so I don't have to be continually spending all my time and energy on posting daily? And the best answer to that is if you pick certain days to go ahead and shoot, where you have a Google Doc or a notebook that says these are the topics, right? This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to shoot all my little short videos on Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then I'm going to edit them and have them ready to go. And I'm already ready for the next 2-3 weeks. However you want to roll with that, I would suggest that you find what day is best for you. And throughout our day, we all have opportunities where maybe it's in the middle of the day, maybe it's at the beginning or in the end of the day where you have a little bit more time. And you've got to look like, what can I do during this time that's productive, that matches what I want to accomplish on social media? In this case, if it's TikTok, then I'd start outlining my topics, right? I'm going to do some homework through, like I said, through influence surfing and trend surfing. And then I'm going to find my topics. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start then talking about them. How does it sound when I talk about them? And then I'm going to mess up a few times, and some of those I'm not going to take. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the ones that I like. The other part to this question is, well, what do I use to edit? And that's easy. You use an app called Viva Video, V-I-V-A, and then Video, V-I-D-E-O. And that's what Jeff and I typically do. We use that app after we record on our phones, because we don't typically record on the app itself, so like TikTok, unless it's a filter through TikTok that we're using. But typically we record on our phone, then we open up Viva Video, and then we edit. Once it's done, then we throw it into all the multiple platforms. In this case, if we're just talking about TikTok, just upload the TikTok. We upload the right song that we want with it, and then we just have it go live with the right hashtags. And that's it. But the idea behind this is to make it as easy as possible for you. And if you're going from 9 to 10 a.m. on Tuesdays, you're probably going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to shoot one video that's about a minute long or so. So if you're giving yourself an hour, you can probably shoot 5 to 7 to 8 good videos. And if you're thinking that you want to do 1 to 2 videos a week, at least post up on TikTok, I think that would be a good start. Although we challenge all of our coaching clients to do 1 a day. That's what we like for them to do, only because we see that works very, very well. So that's that question. He had a great question, Carl. Good job. Now, Melissa had one. Can you schedule your videos on TikTok? And one thing that we did start noticing is that you can schedule them, but you have to have a business account. The business account allows you, whereas the personal or creator one does not. And I see Jeff here. Let me see if I can invite him to speak. Let's see if that works, buddy. And I see you up here now.
Hallelujah.
Were you trying with your cell phone or with the desktop?
I was listening from the desktop, but you can't join from a desktop from a computer.
Well, I got you on now, buddy.
Hey, glad to be here.
So now that we're done, I'm joking.
Perfect. All right. Just send me a check.
All right, I'm going to go through the questions because we've got some really good ones. For TikTok, Jeff, do you have intros and outros in every video, or do you kind of leave it raw and just have it finish it just like per video, whatever it is that you're talking about, saying bye or that's it? How do you typically do it?
For TikTok, I would always lead with a hook. So yes to an intro. You've only got a fraction of seconds to grab their attention. So try to lead with something that's going to tease it, or a question, or a bold statement, or lead with a joke or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I think, honestly, one of the bigger mistakes so that's number one. Number two is one of the bigger mistakes people make when they're shooting video is not to have some sort of a call to action. And so whether that is to follow me, comment, DM me for whatever it is I'm sharing or talking about, I think that's important. And so I think if at very worst, if you're not giving anything away, just ask for engagement. Just say, hey, let me know what you think. Comment below. And I think it's important to do.
I like that. And what are you noticing trend-wise that the length of the videos are? Are you noticing a trend with that, whether they're shorter, longer, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. My most successful video right now is probably about a minute. So it just kind of disproves the theory that it has to be 15 seconds. I do think the shorter the better, generally speaking. But Tristan, you know this with like my strategy, for example, with social media news and business tips and things like that. man, it's really hard to give quality content in under a minute. And so I just say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to what I want to provide. And then I'm going to cross-utilize it on especially like a platform like YouTube, where I think it'll be optimized even better. But yeah, I think it's more important to be consistent than to worry about little things like, what time am I posting and how long are my videos.
All right. And then are you noticing that the trends on Instagram are the same as the trends on TikTok, or are they different?
Different, in my opinion. Videos that perform very well on TikTok don't perform as well on Instagram, and vice versa. And so I think it really is more audience driven, to be honest. I think it depends what audience you attract on each platform. What attracted them there in the first place? It's London talks about this, where he's got his niches and the things that make him money, but he's got the things that gains him followers, which are two very different things, right?
True. Yeah.
And so I think you gotta figure out, what does your audience want? So for which platform, what is it that drives the most interaction, engagement, and views, and comments, and that sort of thing, and then run with it. And then sprinkle in what you do for a living. Even though it's not going to get the same kind of engagement, you're going to be reminding people what you do. And I think that's where a lot of people lose sight of a good social strategy, to be honest.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand the return on investment either.
That's true.
The return on investment is like, well, what is it? And I think the best response I've ever heard came from Gary Vee, which we both like. He said, well, what's the return on investment on your grandma? And I'm like, oh, damn, that's a good answer. There is no return on investment. I just love her and I show up for her, right? And then she loves me back. So what is it? I mean, how do we track the return on investment for TikTok, man?
With a social strategy in general, this isn't just TikTok, this is all of them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the best place to create parasocial relationships. And again, at the end of the day, especially in real estate, it's what you're trying to do. And so if you're going into social, whether it's TikTok or any other platform, and just saying, I'm going to become the edutainer or the educator, whichever one you want to be, of all things real estate, you're going to get lost in a muddied world of a lot of your peers doing the same thing. So what really is going to separate you? And the answer is, what separates you is who you are as a human being, what your hobbies are, what your family's like, what you do for fun. That's what really differentiates you. And I think, people don't put enough into that or they don't put the emphasis on that and then sprinkle in the business. Because if they like you first and they have commonalities with you, naturally we as humans want to give back and do good things for people that we like. But we also have an aversion to being sold all the time. So if you're just going on social and talking about real estate, you're going to turn people off, and you're going to end up losing attention, and losing it. As they all say, Tristan, attention is currency, right? So
yeah, that's so
get
true.
their attention.
That's so true. All right, so then if we're posting to social media, let's say one time a day, how does that look? Because I noticed that I'm hearing people say you should be posting one time a day, you should be posting 4 times a day. So this is a 2-part question. One is, what are you noticing works? And when the hell do you have time to do business if you're always posting to social media?
Yeah, I think the answer lies within each individual. What do you have time for? What can you make time for? What can you scale to? The answer is that consistency and quantity is what you're after, but don't give up if you can't do what Gary Vee does or what you and I do, because we built up to this, right? We didn't start 5-6 years ago and say, man, I'm going to start doing 3 videos a day to TikTok. It just didn't work that way. Well, TikTok didn't even exist then, but you get my point, right? So figure out a cadence. Figure out how you can build this into your schedule. Figure out how it's just no different than prospecting. And come up with a strategy where you're going to have an endless amount of content that you can always come up with something. And so if you're not doing anything, start with 1 a week. Crawl before you walk. Start with something that's manageable, but then focus on, okay, I'm going to do that for 2 months, and then I'm going to build up to going to twice a week, and then I'm going to do it for a month. I'm going to go 3 times a week, and build up to that.
And how long should the videos be? What are you noticing is the key length for them?
I mean, we talked about that a minute ago. I think, honestly, if I had to give somebody advice, if I was coaching someone, I'm going to tell anybody to try to keep it at right around the 60-second mark. I think that's the sweet spot. I don't think you can actually put out legitimately strong educational content in less than 30 seconds. It's very challenging. So I think you're going to have a mix, though. Don't be afraid if you put out one that's 2 minutes and you're like, crap, but I don't know what to take out. Well, then just post it. And then there's going to be other times when you can come up with something like the one I did today with the video hooks, and it's all just visual of fishing hooks, and it was like a 15-second video. So I thought of a way to create one in a shorter fashion, but you're gonna that inspiration and creativity is gonna come and go. So just go with whatever you got.
Okay. And do you typically go with the trends that you see on TikTok? Because there's a great site. Later, right? The app Later.
Yeah.
There's a blog, later.com/blog. But on it, they track all of the TikTok trends, like the music, whatever they're performing, whatever it is, right? They track them all. Do you follow those and do those, or do you kind of just do your own thing?
For me, I do mostly my own thing. I do use trending music all the time because why not? It's easy. And so I put music in every video. Even if it's a talking head video, I put music, even if I'll just turn the volume all the way down to like 2%. You can't even hear it, but it's there and the algorithm picks it up, right? So I do a lot of that. Occasionally I'm watching, I'm seeing what people are doing on Reels and TikTok, and there are a lot of that stuff that like right now it's going to be all about Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. There's going to be a million memes and videos, and that's going to be trending, and you might as well jump on it while the getting's good. Here's the thing, to anybody listening to this, I know what you're probably thinking, well, I've already seen like 10 million of those today. Because you're in real estate and the algorithm knows you're in real estate, so it shows you real estate stuff, but your audience may not see it. So still go ahead and get it out there. Like if you go R&D somebody and go ahead and get it out there. And that's the case with everything trending.
If you have a different take on it, that's even better, right? Yeah. So I find that's a really good point, man. I like that.
I don't think there's a right answer to that question, Tristan. I think if you're a trend follower, you like those trends and you like doing that kind of stuff, by all means, go for it. If you're like, that's stupid, then don't. Like there's no one way to skin this cat.
How do you because I talked about this right before you jumped in. How do you see the TikTok stories changing TikTok, if anything?
Haven't figured it out yet. So right now I would say none. And the main reason why is because it's not formatted like Instagram and Facebook. So stories on Instagram and Facebook, it's formatted to where it's right at the top of your screen. Every time you open it up, there's these little bubbles. And so my goal is I want my bubble to be basically perpetually at the top of your feed, always. And so that just means consistency, right? Whereas on TikTok, I haven't even noticed them on my feed. So I have a hard time understanding the importance of them yet until I start seeing more of it so I can understand how to use it.
Got it. What are you noticing as far as TikTok, some trends that we should be taking advantage of?
As far as trends?
Yeah, or anything that we should be paying attention to.
Well, I think just following the trajectory and the evolution of TikTok is important because TikTok, as we talk about all the time, has changed the way companies now market. Yeah. Not just on TikTok. Like you watch Super Bowl commercials, you watch television commercials, they look like TikTok style. And so, and just based on the fact that, Reels copied it, now Facebook's copied Reels, and, YouTube added Shorts. I mean, there's a trend. There's a trend to shorter form content. But we also know that TikTok's now copying YouTube and adding longer form content because it needs to add monetization for their users, their creators. So I just think, basically having an understanding of how to use the app, which is probably the biggest hurdle. It's the largest barrier to entry to TikTok because people get on there, you start playing around with the buttons, and you're like, holy crap, like I don't know what to do here. And so taking your time, watching YouTube videos, maybe joining a school like Business Video School, or there's probably other TikTok classes or webinars out there. Like take your time. Take your time, learn how to use this stuff, because that stuff is revolutionary. It's innovative, and everybody's going to continue to follow it. So the better understanding that you have of the most innovative platform, in my opinion, just sets you apart and sets you a couple steps ahead for whatever's coming next.
I love that, man. I love that. All right, so what are you doing next, man? What are you doing next that we should be paying attention to? Then I'll tell you what I'm doing.
I was just going to ask you a question first. Let's go back to the stories question. What is your opinion on the TikTok stories before I answer that next question?
Well, I think what they're doing two things. One, they're getting away from what they were originally, and that was these short videos. And they know that that's where a lot of people live too, because they can consume videos quickly. They don't want to lose that. So they're shifting that over to stories. Because now that they're extending the TikToks to up to 10 minutes, right? Now it almost changes the dynamic of how TikToks can work. So they don't want to lose the shortness of it, but they want to bring in a lot more people that want to sit on a certain topic longer. So that was my whole thinking on it. It's like, I don't know that I would go to TikTok to watch a 10-minute video, because I just want to go to the next one. And they won't lose that if they keep the stories there.
Yeah. They'll be curious to see if a Mr. Beast, for example, can penetrate and dominate with longer form content on a TikTok like he does on YouTube.
Yeah, and I think that the secret to YouTube is that it lives there such a long time, you know? Like, I can go to YouTube videos that are years old. Are we going to be able to do that with TikTok? The longer videos, right? That's yet to be seen. That's what I want to know. So now, what are you doing next? What are you excited about testing out for TikTok, or just in general short videos? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm constantly evolving. So I just, so for this year, my goal is 3 videos a day, 5 days a week. So I give myself a 2-day break, which is essentially the weekend. And so then I built it into 3 pillars of content. And so that is what is constantly evolving. So my one pillar is social media news. That will go on in perpetuity. Mm-hmm. It's funny, by the way. I was just talking to somebody today who wanted to be connected to me. Somebody told Corey, our social media manager, they wanted to be connected to me because they're like, nobody's putting out social media news. I'm really glad to hear that. We need that. And I'm like, I'm glad one person.
That's the best.
But so that's one of the pillars. The other pillar is video business, social tips, right? And so that is constantly evolving. So if I'm doing 5 a week, I'm always having to be creative and think of new things, but I've now since narrowed it down. Like, one of those 5 is always going to be about the business video school, because obviously I'm a partner with that. So I'm going to do some video tip that ties back to the video school. Another one you mentioned, I heard you say it earlier about the mashups. I really enjoy doing the mashups, like taking a Gary Vee video, a David Goggins video, a Warren Buffett video, and then is splitting it up and putting myself in there and commenting on the video, which is actually really easy to do if you have some basic editing skills. And so I like those. So that's another one. To answer your question, so that's evolving. The content strategy is evolving. Optimization for me is really important at this point. So I'm trying to really figure out and identify my brand so that I can kind of go all in on really what I want to be known for. And I'm still dialing that in. I think it's going to take me a good portion of the year to really dial that in, but get it dialed in to where it's very consistent across all the platforms. Because currently, my TikTok's very dialed in, and then Instagram, I'm much more personal. And I think I need to bring more of that. I'm 2/3, edutainment content on TikTok, and 1/3 authentic, right, personal. And I think I need to bring that over to Instagram and be 2/3.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I like that. I like where you're going with that. So I've been slowly growing on YouTube, right? So I'm really being a lot more purposeful in deciding what I'm going to post to each outlet. Like, what do my pillars look like for YouTube? What do my pillars look like for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok? So I'm in the process of thinking through all of that to see what's next. Because it's easy for me on YouTube, right? Like, you see the differences. They're longer videos, they're educational, they go deep. Versus then Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Reels, they all look the same because they are, right? And unless it's a filter specific to that to that outlet, right, you're going to see that short video on the rest of them. And I want to change that a little bit.
So what is your content strategy look like?
Right now, content strategy revolves around 4 things: personal development, business coaching, real estate, and social media. And so the personal development, like books and journals, life advice, and all that. And dude, that's what I mix it up through: personal, business, real estate, and social media. When it comes to YouTube, though, it's so niche. It's just real estate, online lead conversion, real estate follow-up, and a little bit of business coaching. And I want to keep it like that because what I'm noticing is that the more niche you get, the deeper your following grows when it comes to YouTube. So
yeah. And you know why I think that is? And that's why I want to optimize, is because I think that you can actually confuse these platforms. These algorithms are paying attention. And I'm guilty of this. So when I'm posting something that's, about my 3-year-old daughter, and then the next thing I'm doing is I'm posting about me being on stage somewhere, and the next thing I'm posting about is mortgage or real estate advice, and then the next thing I'm posting about is the Lake of the Ozarks, like the algorithm is struggling to figure out who to put my stuff in front of. And so I think that I really do believe that that's something that a lot of people, we all struggle with. And I think finding your niche is extremely important. And that way the algorithm then knows, okay, that's I think where a lot of us struggle with growth. And growth doesn't mean everything. Virality doesn't mean necessarily anything. It's all about connection, right? Virality is just a bonus.
Very true.
But if you really want to, I think if you find yourself, if you go to your own personal feeds and you see that it's all over the board and you've struggled to grow, that could be why. Because the algorithm can't figure out who to put your stuff in front of. And I think that's probably why you've grown so much on Instagram over the last 3-4 months, because you've done a really good job of staying in a lane or certain lanes, and the algorithm figured you out.
Interesting. Yeah, I think you're right, buddy. I think you're right.
Well, that and you're really just attractive. That probably.
Oh,
helps.
Thank you. Well, dude, you're not too bad yourself, you sexy beast. By the way, we do coaching, so if you want to jump on.
we just lost everyone.
We love it. And can you put up the link on Facebook so people have questions about group coaching? We can jump on that. We just started for social media. All right, Jeff, that's all I got, man. I'm really excited where TikTok's heading because they're always changing the platform. And I think they're the ones that are keeping Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and Pinterest on their toes, which is what I love.
Agreed. And that's why I think that if you're going to put social media as a prominent piece of your business, having your finger on the pulse of what's coming and who's like leading the pack is very important. And that's where TikTok comes into play. And it's going to be interesting, dude. I think over the next few years, man, this is going to become more and more and more prevalent, and the best of the best are going to thrive because they put an emphasis on this kind of stuff. It's a long game. It's a long game, which is why you need to start now.
Yeah,
so
I agree, man. I agree. All right, dude, I love this. When's our next group coaching call?
This week, actually.
All right.
This week on Thursday.
All right, if you have any questions, reach out to Jeff or I, or just jump into that link, that input into the comments. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, In.
See you, buddy.
See you, man.
Thanks for listening to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social. We are here to help you take your business to new levels through social media. Make sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes, and come join us on our Drunk on Social Facebook page. And as always, make sure you leave us a great review on your favorite podcast app. Feedback and likes are very much appreciated.